Mr. Samworth, can you explain to these guys why you need officers on the healthcare? The healthcare was a dangerous place, extremely violent. Cat A prisoners, always on there, we had at least one Cat A prisoner. Mentally unwell, people on unlocked protocols, only come out on their own if you have enough staff. Our prisons are a powder keg waiting to explode. Peter Blexley is an ex-undercover copper. I like him a lot. Says it how he is. Very passionate about his job as a police officer. Speaks out. He's running the panel. There's an ex-prison governor. I've heard good things about her. There's an ex-con. Always good to have ex-cons. I have a good understanding of what it's like to be locked up, but I have never been locked up. And then there's the head of the POA, Prison Officers Association. They're talking about the powder keg that is prisons. They're talking about crime cartels recruiting prison officers on the out, getting people to join up so they've got them inside. That's for trafficking, drugs, phones into the prison. Prison officer recruitment has dropped. The panel is talking about no face-to-face interview. I never had a face-to-face interview over 20 years ago. No fitness test now. They're basically employing anybody. Lesser background checks. So yeah, cartels can recruit. Corruption is through the roof. Forget your cartels employing people. Got young, naive people, inexperienced people going into prisons. Corruption absolutely through the roof. The prison population now is over 2 times what it was when we had the Strangeways riots. April 1st, 1990. I'll bet they've got a quarter of the staff they had then, if that. Here's my problems with that panel. The prison governor, like I say, I'm not going to knock her. I've heard good things about her. Vanessa Fake. The prison service, Crown Prosecution Service, governments, civil service, all have a part to play in where we are now. They lowered money, lowered standards, lowered recruitment standards. Go back to 2012, 2015. After voluntary early retirement for experienced staff, they got rid of loads of staff off the landings. We had benchmarking and workforce modernisation, reducing staff numbers at Strangeways Prison. 2015, when benchmarking and workforce modernisation arrived, we were about 80 staff short across the board. End of February 2015. March 1st, I got told we were 15 staff over, that were surplus to requirements. Really? They didn't make anyone redundant. They changed the ways of working. Chaos, not enough staff to do the job. That's prison service wide. And it's got worse since. They absolutely can't retain and recruit. They dropped the money from 30 grand to around 22 grand. The money's now gone back up. It's too late. Powder keg. It's gone right out of my head. It infuriates me. No dynamic security. No staff-prisoner relationships anymore. Nobody knows anybody. Extremely violent. They're turning prison officers into RoboCops. They're giving them more and more gear. That's putting plasters over an artery that's pumping blood out. Change needed. Back to the panel. Head of the POA. The POA, for me, have always been gaffers' narcs. At Strangeways, the POA were in gaffers' pockets. In with the management. Now, for me, unions don't have to be old school. Everybody out against the work. Work together by all means. But you need to stand up for the workers. And they never did. The POA at Strangeways always had the best jobs. Cushy jobs. In gaffers' pockets. 2015, when 1 or 2 of them were told they were coming out of their cushy jobs back into the real world of prison officer, they resigned. They retired. They left. The guy at the head of the POA, he's been there a long time. The POA, complicit. They should have been screaming and shouting. When workforce modernisation and benchmarking came to the prison service, there's a group of people going round having a look where they could cut staff. They came onto the healthcare. Part of that team was one of our prison governors. Mr. Samworth, can you explain to these guys why you need officers on the healthcare was a dangerous place. Extremely violent. Cat A prisoners, always on there. We had at least one Cat A prisoner. Mentally unwell, people on unlock protocols only come out on their own if you have enough staff. Why do you need prison officers on here, Mr. Samworth? I'm telling them, they're not understanding. The nursing staff are not CNR restraint trained. They were complicit. Prison management complicit. They didn't scream and shout. Some fought back. I believe Hull Prison, the governor then, Hull Prison 2012 roundabout, benchmarking and workforce modernisation went there. He realised, or she, I can't remember or don't know who it was at work, and they tried to introduce more staff back onto the rotas. Too late. So the governor, again, I'm not going to knock her, but she knows why we're in the state we are now. There's not enough staff. Budgets going down every year. Prison population going up every year. Recruitment is an absolute joke. People will be recruiting for their crime organisations. Drugs through the roof. The ex-con talks about prison being a community. You get the strong in society who have all the power, the drugs, the mobile phones, making millions in prison. The weak from society, the addicts, the people who self-medicate because of horrendous childhoods, vulnerable, in debt. This is where the violence escalates. I want you to go in that cell and stab him, beat him up, cover him in hot water and sugar, liquid napalm. The union guy has been complicit. They haven't shouted out. He's telling us about the problems now. Here's the other thing. Prison governors and union men who've been POA members for a long time, they're not on the shop floor. They lose touch with the people who are at the coalface. Powder keg indeed. Just going to leave it there, guys. Thanks for your continued support. If you'd like to become a channel member, link in the description. Support the channel. God bless you all. Thanks for coming. I'll see you there.
Real foreign, forecast, real people, real stories.